This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the Horrified Podcast. That's Mike Martin.
And that's Michael Combs.
And that's Keith Clanton.
Threw you for a curveball, didn't I? Threw you for a
bit.
curveball. I'm just making sure everybody's awake. How y'all doing? Okay, I've been watching a lot of Traitors, so I thought I'd switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
Everybody in here is watching Traitors now.
Yes, I'm caught up on this season.
I'm obsessed. Michael and I are watching
Both.
both seasons at the same time. A little confusing. But I want to be on Traitors.
Do you want to be a traitor or do you want to be a faithful?
I don't think I could be a traitor. I feel like I'm really good at watching people. I feel like if I was a traitor, though, when somebody was like, oh my God, I think he's the traitor, I'd be like, no, I'm not. And like get all red and...
Give yourself away.
Oh, I think I would give myself away.
I don't
See,
think I'd be
Because
a
I feel like I'm too
traitor either.
awkward.
But see, I feel like I would give myself away like as a faithful. I feel like if I was being accused of being a traitor, I genuinely don't know how to defend myself to something that's not true.
Yeah.
So like I feel like that's kind of the predicament that most of the people get in on there.
I've also learned you cannot like accuse people of being a traitor because you might die, be killed the next night.
Yeah, but I feel like that's stupid on like...
The traitor's parts.
Yeah. You know?
Take out the smart ones.
Yeah. Like...
I mean, the first season,
Don't say anything
I'm
because
not.
Mike's not watched the first season, so he doesn't know who's going
I will
home.
just say Brandy is very, very... Brandy Glanville from Beverly Hills is very
Yes.
observant.
That's what I told him.
Very. Like, out of all the people...
Well, we also talked about how much none of us are huge Larsa fans.
Nope.
But on this, she was kind of with it, and I was kind of living for it.
That's what I told Michael. I don't like her on the Housewives of Miami, like, not even a little bit. But she was pretty good on Traitors. Like, she had her wits about her, you know?
I do kind of like how all the Bravo people kind of stick together.
Well, they all know
on
each
both
other,
seasons.
you know? Like,
Well,
even if
especially
they're-
this one. There's like 4 housewives on it.
Yeah, and I just feel like... And there's a few other Bravo people on the first season. But I just feel like... Well, there's BravoCon now, so they run into each other at all these events. So anyway, I don't know, you guys. Traitors is really good. It's very much like an Agatha Christie type thing.
I just
Scottish
I just
Highlands
live for
Castle.
Phaedra. Every time
Oh, I love
Phaedra's
Phaedra.
on there.
Everything that comes out of her mouth.
Ooh, child.
Yeah.
I love a politician.
She
So never
does.
say that.
And then like, oh, I mean, obviously it doesn't really matter, but like there's that whole funeral thing that's
gosh,
happened.
so dramatic.
And she's all, since she was like, I just feel right at home at this funeral.
Yeah, because she was
'Cause
studying it.
She used to do that.
But it's a really good show. If y'all are not watching it, y'all need to get on the bandwagon.
You should. And Alan Cummings is a good host, I think. I
He
feel
is
like
a great host.
the second season, his outfits are like...
I mean, they're pretty
Crazy.
ridiculous the first season, but they are even more. Like, he's got all these big brooches and stuff. I don't know. But, anywho.
That's all we've been up to, watching Traitors.
That's all we've been doing.
You know what's almost as horrific as Larsa Pippen?
Oh, we did go see...
Suspiria.
Suspiria?
Do
we did
what?
go see...
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Founders Day.
Founders Day.
We did see Founders Day. Yes, we did. I don't want to give away anything, but if you want to see what we rated it, we've got a post up on our Instagram page at the Horrified Podcast. We try to do that with all the new movies coming out in theaters, and we don't get to go to every one of them, but we sure do try.
Yeah, because we've recently watched Night Swim
Night Swim.
and Founders
Day. And hopefully we'll be going to Godzilla -1 minus Color. It's only in theaters for 1 week,
I'll go.
and then it's
It's so good.
done.
I'll go.
You heard
Well,
it.
you know, we're going to be beckoned to go see. I've literally, Ashley's not talked about movies the way she's talked about this Lisa Frankenstein.
Oh, of course we're going to have to go. It's a Diablo Cody movie. Like, obviously, we're going to have to go see that. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not crazy about it because I'm like, meh. looks a little too cutesy for me. But Diablo Cody's funny, so I feel like there's going to be some really good dialogue in it. So,
and I think we all want to go see Abigail.
Yes, Abigail looks so good.
I don't know how I missed that.
I know, it came out of the blue.
Yeah.
Because when they showed that at Founders Day, I was like, what is this?
Yeah. Looks very good, so I'm excited.
Hopefully it's another good year of horror movies. So.
I hope so. I mean, there are some good ones coming out.
We got the new Saw at the end of the year.
We've
We got
got the new
Smile
Saw.
2 at the end of the year.
We've got Smile 2. We've also got Beetlejuice 2's coming out this year. The Strangers, that new trilogy comes out this year.
Is that a reboot, though?
I'm not sure. It's a trilogy. It's chapter 1 is what they're calling it, so I don't know. I don't know much about it, but I'm pretty excited.
It's been a few good years for horror, so
Yeah, it
I hope
has
that
been.
continues.
So hopefully it continues. All right, guys, I got a question for you. Have you ever traveled across the world to study ballet in Germany only to discover that you're training under a grisly coven of witches?
No, but that sounds like fun.
Story of my life.
Y'all, you know I took dance lessons when I was a kid. Have I ever
Tap
told you that?
dancing.
Yeah, I
Tap-
took tap dance. When
How did that come out?
Huh?
Tap dancing. I don't know what I said.
I took tap, and I guess it was tumbling. Not quite no, it wasn't gymnastics, but it was tumbling. When I was probably 5 years old. Okay? So I related to this movie a lot. I just want you to know.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay, Susie.
So I'm very excited to announce
yeah,
that.
we got Susie Banyan over here.
Anyway, we're continuing the supernatural horror season with Suspiria.
Roses are red, violets are blue, but the iris is the flower that will mean the end of
You can run from Suspiria. Suspiria. You can hide from Suspiria. Suspiria. But you cannot escape. Suspiria. The only thing more terrifying than the last 12 minutes of Suspiria are the first 92.
Woo! Suspiria is a 1977 Italian supernatural horror film directed by Dario Argento, who also co-wrote the screenplay with Daria Nicoldi, which is partially based on Thomas de Quincey's 1845 essay Suspiria de Profundis. The film stars Jessica Harper as Susie Banyan, Stefania Casini as Sarah Sims, Flavio Bucci as Daniel, Miguel Bosé as Mark, Alida Valli is Miss Tanner, and Joan Bennett in her final film role is Madame Blanc.
Yes.
Michael.
Miguel Bosé.
Before we start, I do want to say,
Uh-huh.
did you know Dario Nicolodi was originally supposed to play Sarah?
Daria Nicolodi. So the co-writer was supposed to play Sarah.
Yes.
Interesting.
She was married to Dario Argento at one point.
Okay.
And before we go into it, she actually helped co-write Deep Red.
Okay.
She never got a co-writer credit for it and was pissed. And she made sure when this movie came out
That she did get
she got credited for it.
Good for her.
Yes.
So they were not married now, obviously.
No, they were still married then when they made this movie.
Well, yeah.
Keith and I have watched a movie called Tenebrae. She was the female lead in Tenebrae.
What?
Yes.
Okay. Tenebrae's, I mean, I don't want to give anything away about how I feel about this movie, but Tenebrae is very good. I really like Tenebrae.
For people listening, Keith does not like a giallo movie.
I do
or
not like giallo
an
movies.
Italian horror film, but he did love Tenebrae.
Yeah.
Because it also has, what's his face from Nightmare on Elm Street in it?
Who?
The dad from
John Saxon?
Yes, John Saxton is the male
Was he in
lead.
that?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I love this movie. I don't remember a lot about it, but
He did love it.
I did really like it. I remember when we watched it, I was like, oh, I really liked that at the end of it. Okay. But yeah, I'm not a big giallo person. I'm not. I just, like our track record with watching Italian horror films on this podcast isn't great for me. But also, maybe we haven't picked. No, there are a few I like. Anyways, I don't want to go. That's a tangent.
That is a tangent.
Go
I just
ahead,
wanted
Michael.
to throw that out there about Daria. So,
Go ahead.
the movie opens with Susie Banyan going to dance school in Germany. She lands in the airport and is walking through the terminal. She heads outside into a storm to get a taxi.
I mean, obviously not like, whole lot to go on right now. However, I will say I was already into the music from the moment
Yes, I love the
from
score.
the moment the movie started,
The score for this movie is very good.
which I don't really, I love a soundtrack.
Yes.
I'm not a big score person. However, I can acknowledge when one like piques my interest.
This score is
It's
amazing.
very good.
And
It
off
is
topic,
very good.
I sell the crap out of this score at the store.
At the record store.
Yes.
The Groove. What's the address for the Groove?
1103 Kelvin Avenue, Nashville, Tennessee.
Come on down. They sell
Yes.
Waxworks.
We sell it all.
Okay.
But we sell a lot of this score.
Yeah.
What I found is interesting before we go into the rest of it is the band Goblin scored this movie, but in the credits they're credited as the Goblins, which is not their name, which I thought was weird. But anyway, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I love the score to this.
So the score right off the bat got your attention. You
It
know what
did.
else I think gets your attention is the colors.
Oh, the color scheme?
Right?
Yes.
Right out the gate when she's coming, she's walking out, like you see like all the colors in the hallway, and like it's a very visually appealing movie from the get-go.
Those primary colors are front and center with
Yes,
this.
totally.
Which brings me to another trivia point. Did you know
Please.
that this movie used the same imbibition process that they used to film Wizard of Oz?
I don't know what it.
I don't either, but-
is.
When I looked it up, it's a process of how they got the color out of the film.
Okay,
Is the same process
make it, like,
that
more
they
vibrant
used
or something?
in the Wizard of Oz.
gotcha.
And you love the Wizard of Oz.
I do love the Wizard of Oz. Well, in the Wizard of Oz, a lot of those colors that you see are actually much darker. But the way that they filmed it, they came off bright. So, like, Dorothy's shoes aren't really that red. They're more of, like, a darker red.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyways. But, yeah, right out the gate, we got a great soundtrack. It's visually appealing. You can tell, like, okay, this is a filmmaker, right? This is a filmmaker. Okay, so I will tell you out the gate, I don't have super high hopes for Susie Bunyan. Okay, I'm calling her Bunyan.
Bunyan.
Got it. I don't, because she's out there hailing her taxi, jumping in front of the cars, trying to get them to stop. Look, you got to do what you got to do to get this taxi. And when they finally stop, she's like, "Can you give me a hand?"
In the middle
And
of a
I
downpour.
thought, first of all, it's literally raining cats and dogs out here. And you got two
bags?
carry-on size suitcases that you've been handling seemingly pretty well. Why do you need this old man to come out and grab your luggage? And I thought, oh, she's done. She's done. She can't even carry her suitcases.
Well, in her defense, she's like waif. So maybe she had trouble
Waif?
carrying. Yeah, she's tiny.
Oh, well, that's a new word. I'm going to put it on my
You ever
word
heard
of day
the word
calendar.
waif?
No, I've heard of a wafer.
Waif just means she's incredibly tiny.
Have you heard of that word?
No, but I mean, I the first time we see her walking towards like the doors to go out or whatever, I remember thinking, I was like, what an odd looking person. And then
Really?
You think Susie's you think she's odd looking?
Yes, but I think it was because like well, my words while watching it was, her head's just really big for her tiny body. But the tiny body fits the ballet, like, dancer
She definitely
persona.
has a ballerina's
like,
body.
Tiny, no boobs.
Petite.
and it also could have been
Her hair.
her hair.
Her hair. She's got bigger hair. I mean, this
Yeah.
is 77 after all. So.
Right.
She has Jennifer Connelly eyebrows.
She does have. At one point, though, like when it was showing her talking up close, I was like, does she have a little mustache going on?
I've noticed that too, and I'm wondering if it's just the transfer.
Could be.
We were looking
Definitely
at.
could be. I think she's a beautiful girl.
She reminds me a lot of what's her face from Black Christmas. Maybe it's the brown hair.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
No, the original.
Oh, Olivia Hussey?
Yeah.
Oh, she could never.
They remind me of each other.
Olivia Hussey. Y'all. Olivia Hussey, to me, this is just my opinion, is the most beautiful final girl in the history of horror. She's beautiful. Beautiful. I don't think anybody comes close. That's just my opinion. And y'all know, obviously she's not my favorite final girl, but she's just exquisite.
Y'all are just talking about all these people while I sat there and thought, man, she looks like Jonathan Brandis.
What?
Mixed with like... Mixed, Jonathan Brandis and Christina Ricci had a baby, and that's
God. And they named her Martha, and she played on the Ladybugs.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I cannot. Okay, well, I did not get Jonathan Brandis. Anyways, go ahead, Michael.
I did not.
I know.
either.
Take us on this journey.
So they head through a wooded area and make it to the dance school. When they get there, a girl has the door open and is yelling at someone inside the building.
Okay, here's one thing that I will say I don't love about this movie right out the gate. When they're driving and you see the wooded area, you hear, witch, witch. And I'm like, well, way to give the movie away in literally the first 3 minutes.
Well, that's in the score.
Okay, but also, this is a movie about witches. You know what I'm saying?
I get that, but I actually think the song, like, you know, they do name the score, the different segments is actually called Witch.
Okay, that's fine, but it does, like, they play that
It
part
gives everything away.
They play part of that score, like, several times throughout the movie, and I just feel like one of my biggest problems with this movie is that out the gate it's about witch. Like, I just feel like there's no twists, or, like, you know what I'm saying? And I want a twist. Like, I want to be surprised.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I agree with that. If it makes you feel any better, this is my first time watching this. Probably should preface that before we start talking about this episode. I wasn't even, like, catching on to, like, the
witch part?
The witch stuff. Like, I was more focused on, I guess, the visuals and stuff than I was paying attention to that.
Yeah.
And I guess it was probably so subtle that I just wasn't even...
paying attention. Like, notice. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like... And maybe that's because first time watch. You know, when you watch things more than once, you pick up on things differently.
That's
true.
Like,
I think
the first time you watched it, did you pick up on witches?
Yes.
I knew going into it. Well, my first time watching it was about witches, just from hearing things.
Yeah.
The thing with this movie is it is light on plot, but it is heavy on visuals.
For sure.
So I guess that brings us to the next part. Susie is unsuccessful in gaining entrance into the building and gets back in the taxi. As they head back into town, you can see the girl running through the woods.
I mean, that person on the speaker was a bitch.
Well, we find out later it's Sarah.
Yes.
Like, I was just like, I mean, damn. You can't let this poor girl in?
Yeah.
She's literally just flown here from the States. Well, it's pouring down rain.
And my thing, too, they had to be expecting. I mean, they told her the next day that they were expecting her, but she came in late. So it's like, hello.
I tried.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing we didn't admit. Susie flew to Germany. This school is in Germany.
Where did she go, though? Did she get a hotel room?
I don't think they ever say it. I'm assuming she
just got
a hotel room for the night.
Yeah.
So,
oh, yeah, because... I mean, then chaos ensues at the...
Yes. So after all that, the girl running through the woods we find out her name is Pat, makes it to her friend's apartment. She uses the bathroom, and an arm pulls her through the broken window and stabs her. Long story short, her and her friend are killed in a glorious, gory fashion.
Okay. I feel like that scene... I feel like all the death scenes in this movie are pretty popular. Like, they're pretty well known. Like,
Especially that opening.
If you haven't seen Suspiria, then you've at least seen these clips somewhere. Or a photo. You know what I'm saying? One thing that drives me... Okay. I'm just going to throw this out here, and this is one of the problems I have with Giallo movies. The acting isn't great for me.
Right.
Okay?
Do you think it's the acting or the overdubbing voices?
It could be the overdubbing. And I almost... Okay, that's another thing, and I know you know more about this, and we've talked about this before. There's always dubbing in the Italian horror movies. But the people are clearly speaking English.
Right.
So why do they dub?
So when they filmed this, the people that spoke English spoke English. The people that spoke Italian spoke Italian. The people that spoke German spoke German. So when they edited it, they went in and had everyone overdub.
Well, when I was
For
looking
English.
when I looked up the cast, like it actually has, like it'll say this person played this person in parentheses. It'll say dubbed by whatever. Okay. But somebody like our main character, Susie, that's her voice, right?
Yeah.
So
For the American version, it is her voice.
But it's almost like she went back in and dubbed it. Like,
I think they do.
I don't like it. It's very distracting for me.
There's a process for it, and I don't remember the terminology for it, but she has talked about this in interviews where you can hear everything. When they're filming it, you can hear people building sets and everything, and she's like, it's really distracting, but that's because after the film, they actually go in and redub everything. Yes.
So essentially they do it probably to take out a lot of excess noise.
And then they just go
Like-
back in and redub the whole movie.
Yes.
Because I'm with you. For the first few minutes, I was sitting there and I was watching their mouths and I was like, are they speaking English?
You can take...
They are, right? Like,
Yes.
for the most part, they're speaking English, and so...
For sure, Susie Bannion is. Miss Tanner is.
Sarah is.
Madame Blanc is. I don't think Sarah is, because she's Italian.
Okay, but when you're watching her mouth, it pretty much, to me, it matches.
I don't know for a fact.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure those three are.
Well,
and I don't think anyone else is.
See, and I thought that Pat and this girl, I thought they looked like they were speaking English.
But just dubbed.
Yeah.
Right? I think, yeah. So, anyway, that's one problem. But to
I
your
don't think
point,
it's the acting. I think it's
It could be.
the dubbing,
Well,
voice
because-
acting.
Because the voice acting obviously isn't going to be as good as like when they're in the moment acting. So that's
Right.
why I'm like, if they're speaking English,
Well, that was part of my problem with even just this first scene with Pat and what do we even know her name?
Friend, I don't
Yeah, like the
Samantha.
other
ever
girl.
say her name.
Samantha.
Yeah.
Because to your point, that was kind of like what I was hung up on. I felt like because when you're sitting in a room like this, if we were to do this on the podcast and try to go back and re-say what we've already said, it doesn't have the same inflection and stuff like that. So like it kind of felt very amateurish. Like, not that it was necessarily bad, it just felt like there was no like feeling behind it, I guess.
Well, I almost feel like too when you're watching it for the let's say you've never watched a Giallo movie and this was the first time you're watching Suspiria or a Giallo movie period, you're going to be sitting there for a minute thinking, wait, is this dubbed? I'm confused. Like, you're thinking about it so much that it's taking away from the plot of the movie.
I think with Dario's movies, it's even harder because from what I've read, he is very well known for if you're English, you're going to speak English. If you're Italian, you're going to do it in Italian. If you're German, you're going to do your lines in German.
So you're going to speak in your native tongue.
Could
Yes.
you imagine filming a movie like us three here, and I'm speaking English, but you're speaking German and you're speaking Italian? Like, that would be
I mean, we're not even
so
to
confusing.
that part yet, but I will bring something up to
Okay.
your point later when we get to that.
Okay.
That has to do with that.
All right. Well, I could talk about this for days because it drives me a little crazy.
I don't think it's for you. I don't think it's the acting. I think it's
The dubbing?
The dubbing.
Okay.
That is taking you.
Well, that's
out of
fair.
it.
That's fair. Now, when Pat goes into the bathroom,
Yes.
she locks herself in there. Okay?
Yes.
Why? Why would you lock yourself in that bathroom knowing you're at obviously a close friend's place and then you're getting attacked? Well, you know what? She probably could have helped you, but you locked yourself in the bathroom.
I think she locked herself in there because she's on the verge of a nervous breakdown, and that's kind of what someone does.
You just
They're
lock
like,
yourself in a
I want to
room
be
by yourself.
secluded. I do not want anyone in here. I just found out something fantastical, which
Yeah.
we'll get to, and I think that's why she locked the bathroom.
That's fair.
And then, of course, did anyone else notice how hairy that arm was?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was one hairy ass arm that pulled her out the window.
It 100% was to the point that like I was very confused for the remainder of the movie because I was like, whose arm was
I have a
this?
theory about this.
It looked almost like, to me, I was like, I mean, this could be a werewolf movie, and I'd believe it just because
That
of the
arm
claws
was so hairy.
and
Well,
the
yeah, 'cause
hairiness.
Were they like black claws or black nails? Or
Yeah. I have a. There's something that I think.
I have a
I don't want to
theory.
talk about it just yet because it'll come up later. But anyway,
Dario is known for this in his movies. He really likes to do, if there's a death with, and you can see the killer's hand, he likes to do those scenes with his own arm because he knows exactly where he wants to place a knife, exactly how it needs to look. I almost wonder if it's his arm.
it could be, but there's a reason why I think it looks like that, and I don't want to bring it up just yet.
Okay. So let's talk about
the death
it
scene?
real quickly. Pat is pulled out, and poor Pat is stabbed and stabbed
Yeah, she's stabbed like
and stabbed
7 or 8 times.
to the point that her chest cavity is open
Exposed.
and she gets stabbed in the heart. This is the part where you're talking about. Her head falls through a stained glass skylight,
And her friend can see it.
and her friend is going fucking batshit crazy.
And her
help!
friend's
There's a murderer.
I was
What did
gonna
she say?
Her
There's a
friend's
murderer.
defense, she is really trying to get help.
There's a murderer.
And
She
nobody's
is
answering
knocking
the
on
door.
every door.
right.
you
Where is
answer that
everybody?
door?
Nobody lives there.
Would you answer that door?
Would I answer the door?
Yeah, if someone's like, "There's a murderer out here," I'd be like,
Well, I mean, I've seen the movie Ghost, and they do that too.
Ghost?
Yeah.
You're in danger, girl.
Yeah. Well, because
Pat's friend she is trying to get anyone in that fucking building to come help.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah.
but
So-
that's what I'm saying. Like, and literally, it's not even that nobody wants to help. Where is anybody?
At the ballet.
Maybe there's a spell. Maybe there's
Could
a
be.
spell on everything and no one can hear what's
Could
going
be.
on. Pat falls through the stained glass skylight and gets hung.
Very dramatic.
Very.
I feel like she had to have been almost dead or
I'd
close
say
to
she
death.
probably was dead already.
And then her poor friend gets skewered on, I guess, the metal pieces that are in between.
Well, and the glass.
Yeah,
the
between the
glass.
panes.
She has glass pieces. She has metal pieces. What a death.
Yes, what a death. Visually very fun. Okay. But I do have a problem with it.
The blood?
The blood.
Italian-
literally- I know. It's an
Italian movies
Italian
always
movie.
do that, though.
Over exaggerate the color and
I get it, but it
It's-
looks like red paint. Even like when she's
Yes.
hanging there, it's dripping and there's a little puddle of it, right? It looks like paint dripping.
I have said that before to other people. I'm like, the thing with Italian horror is the blood is too red. It doesn't
Yes.
look real. They don't have Tom Savini's color-coded.
It just looks like
Formula.
red paint. It looks like red paint.
It does.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
completely agree with you. It doesn't look like blood. It looks like paint.
Now, I will say, like, in the whole grand of scheme. Wait,
grand scheme of things.
God. I don't need another cocktail, but I'm going to have one. In the grand scheme of things, it makes sense in this movie because it's such a vibrant, colorful movie. Like, I would understand. I get it. Like, I get it more in this movie.
Yeah.
Why it looks like that, but it still bothers the fuck out of me.
Did you two like the death, though? Were you like, holy crap?
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind either one of them. I'll tell you the takeaway for me was when she's like head went through the stained glass or whatever. Clearly that shattered, but then the rest of it literally just looked like it came off in clumps of glass. Like it wasn't shattered. It was pieces, like a whole massive piece of glass.
Yeah.
But yet her head shattered some glass. But that's just me being picky and trying to be too practical on an unpractical. Like,
I wonder how they would do that though, like in 77 versus now. I get what you're saying.
That was the only thing, because that was when it happened. I was like,
that didn't bother me as much.
You like
as
the movie
blood.
Juno, which
Juno?
I have never seen.
Juno?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know that she says that this is the goriest movie she's ever seen in that movie.
Juno
Well,
says that?
Yes.
I mean, even in the description that I
I haven't
read,
seen Juno in forever.
the description that I read, it says something about that. It's like kind of notably one of the most like horrific and grotesque, gory movies of whatever.
Well, before we watch this, I had said to Keith, I'm like, I know there's at least 2 cuts of this. There's an American cut where they cut out some of the gore, and then there's an Italian cut, and I'm like, I want to make sure, and I'm pretty sure we watched the Italian cut.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit longer, and I'm like, I want to make sure that we watch the same cut so we don't have a death
What'd you watch it on?
So we don't have a death-proof incident again. Tubi.
Oh, that's what I watched it on.
Yeah.
Well, the first time I ever watched it was on a DVD, and it was I don't know if it was a director's cut or anything, but I mean, it's what I watched on Tubi. I don't think was any different than when I watched it for the first time.
I just knew that there was 2 different cuts, and I wanted to make sure we watched the same cut. So we then see a blind man with a seeing eye dog go to school. Susie makes it to school and meets and has conversations with Miss Tanner, Madame Blanc, and then she learns that the girl, Pat Hingle, was murdered.
Okay, if you were Madame Blanc, why would you introduce yourself and then immediately go to, oh, I'm sure you heard about the murder of the girl, blah, blah, blah. Like, why? That would not make me feel comfortable.
No, it'd make me feel very uneasy.
I just thought it was a weird way to introduce yourself.
Madame Blanc.
I'm Madame Blanc. This is my school. One of the girls got murdered last night. But
Welcome.
We're so glad you're here.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Madame Blanc also mentions that she somehow knows Susie Banion's aunt.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think maybe her aunt was a
dancer.
I feel like her aunt was a dancer.
I think she says that.
Aunt.
I have to say aunt. My aunts say they are not a bug.
Okay.
Do not call them
mine
aunt.
have never said
so
that.
I have to say aunt.
Mine have never said that. But yeah, I think her aunt was a dancer. Okay, so Madame Blanc, can I just say, you know what she reminds me of?
What?
Baby Jane Hudson.
Oh, I could see that.
Like if Baby Jane Hudson was like a real like classy lady
and
like,
had hair color, wasn't.
Yeah, that's like what Madame Blanc, because she has the little beauty mark on her face. Obviously not a real beauty mark. You know, she paints that on. Like it just reminded me of Baby Jane Hudson.
I don't know. I love Miss Tanner. I love the way she talks. Her teeth are just holding on by the roots.
She is a drill sergeant.
Miss Trunchbull.
Yes.
Literally, that's what I kept calling her. I was like, Miss
Trunchbull.
Tanner, my ass. That is Miss Trunchbull.
They even have like the same haircut.
And they wear the same
heels. Yeah.
They wear the same kind of like little button-up kind of military-looking like garb.
100%.
She is not taking crap. Miss Tanner does not take crap from anyone, because then she also mentions is it Daniel? This is Daniel.
Pablo's?
The butler guy.
Oh, that's Pablo's.
Pablo's is...
Yes, this is Pablo's.
Because Daniel's the
He's
blind
really
guy, right?
ugly.
Yes.
He's really ugly.
Oh my God. That was terrible.
He got himself new teeth, and now he thinks he's beautiful or something.
And he's smiling all big at her.
Looking like Ronnie did earlier.
Yes. Bless his heart. Poor Pablo.
You weren't here. Sorry. Off topic. See?
Miss Tanner's a bit of a bitch. Susie then finds out that she has to stay with a third-year student, Olga.
Olga, like, seems like she knows what's up.
Matahari. That's all I remember her
My note for her
Matahari.
was Olga seems like the kind of know-it-all girl.
She knows what's up. But she doesn't seem like a bitch.
No.
Well, she's holding that cigarette at one time, and she's like, ooh, Matahari's here.
I think at first when they're in their room, right, they're about to go into practice, and obviously Susie doesn't have her things yet because she's just come back. She's got to find some shoes. I feel like Olga does seem a little bit like a bitch, but then in the next scene when they're actually in her apartment, because I guess she stays off site, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't stay on campus. I'm like, oh, she's not a bitch. Like, she's like, she knows her shit. She knows the teachers. Like,
she's the one, she's got the tea.
she's the it girl.
She is. She's the Regina George.
Sarah and Susie. What does she say? S's for
S's.
snake.
Snakes.
Yes.
So this all happens in the locker room. And then Susie and Olga are back at her apartment.
With some loud wallpaper.
Very
They
loud.
love some loud wallpaper in this movie.
Yes. And it's $50 a week. I remember that.
$50 a week.
Which-
To stay with Olga.
Who brings her bags? Is it Mark?
Is that his name, Mark? He's a cutie.
Yeah.
I think it's Mark. Because
he's
can
a
tell she has
dancer.
a little crush on him
Yes.
and all that.
He seems very timid.
Does $200 a month sound like a lot for the late 70s?
Yes.
I thought it did.
Very much.
Well,
And Susie's very uncomfortable talking about money.
she's got to pay for the wallpaper.
Right. Well, that furniture's very loud, too.
Olga's very, you can tell. Like, Olga's probably from a pretty wealthy family. Like, you can just tell. You know?
Definitely. So then we are back at the school. And if your name is on the list, you must report to the yellow room. Madame Blanc tells Susie a room is ready at the school for her. Susie is not interested.
Yeah, she wants to stay with Olga. And Madame Blanc seems personally offended.
I love how Miss Tanner, what she said to her, though. When you put your mind to something, you're not going to back down from it. And she's like, I appreciate that.
Yes, she does.
Yes.
She does. She
But
notices that in her.
But Madame Blanc is not happy about it.
Yeah, no, she's
I'm like,
not happy.
less than 12 hours ago, you told me that I had to stay off campus when I was supposed to stay on campus in the first place.
Yeah, Madame Blanc, bleh, she's a wishy-washy broad.
And we all know the reason the room's ready is because fucking Pat Hingle got murdered. So Susie is walking to the dance hall and is blinded by a piece of silver being polished by one of the servants.
And that
She then becomes dizzy and ill. She is instructed to dance and eventually passes out.
She passes out. Do you think...
weird ass kid.
Yeah, I still...
That kid
don't
is
know-
creepy. So is the housekeeper. That's Olga. This is like Helga. She's this
Literally.
big girl.
Still a little... I don't even know why the little boy was there. I know Madame Blanc says it's her nephew, and she's very fond of him, right? But beyond that, that's all we know about him. And he just shows up.
And he's with the housekeeper.
The housekeeper, Big Bertha.
Yes. A lot.
So at this point, okay, so obviously this is my second or third viewing. Third viewing. At this point, I'm like, okay, they've put a spell on her. They've put some kind of spell on her, and that's why she's passing out.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, they want to keep her on campus. Because where does she wake up?
In her new room.
Pat's old bedroom.
Yes.
And that twin-size bed. Lord.
Is that what you thought happened? That a spell had been put on her?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of got that vibe
Yeah.
just from jump. Because I was like, I mean, it has to be. I mean, it wasn't like they had given her anything to drink or anything like that. I mean, I didn't know exactly what it was.
So
like,
as-
obviously, that big, shiny whatever thing.
Piece of silver?
Yeah, like...
Hypnotized her.
So as Keith said, she awakens and she's in her new room at the school. She's told Olga has thrown her out.
Lies.
Yeah. She finds out Sarah is her neighbor.
Well, we don't even see Olga again.
No. And that was one of my biggest complaints because I was like, well, I liked her.
Because they really don't even mention her again. You know?
Nope.
Okay. Anyway.
So she
I'm
finds
just now
out
thinking about that.
Sarah is her neighbor, and she is then brought her... She's seen by a doctor, and she was put on a bland food and wine diet. Before she eats, she starts brushing her hair, and maggots start raining
God.
from the ceiling.
At first, I just thought, I was like, this is some real intense lice.
But it's maggots.
It's maggots.
Yes.
Okay. Who brushes their hair like that before they go to bed?
Don't they do that in the Brady Bunch movie?
Also,
Okay, well, that's Marsha Brady. That's different.
Also, Susie's hair is very curly.
Very curly.
You do not brush curly hair like that.
Yeah, like, why are you teasing your hair before you go to bed, girl? You're not going to a disco.
We needed a reason
You're going
to
to
get the maggots in
bed.
her hair.
But, because is it Sarah that she starts like flipping out with the maggots? Or is it just Susie?
No, Susie's
No, she's
by
in
herself
there by herself in the bathroom.
because Sarah goes to go. No, she's at her like vanity.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Excuse me.
Because
The vanity.
Sarah has left to go to dinner because she's on that restricted diet,
That's right. And she says, "Aren't you coming?" And she says, "No."
and she leaves. But
Yes.
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 Everyone's on their way to go to dinner when all hell breaks loose and all the. I mean, there's
Yeah.
maggots
Everywhere.
everywhere.
Which is weird to me because it's caused by some old food, right? Up
Some
in the attic
spoiled
is what they
food.
say.
This is an attic, but this is not your typical.
It just looks like
Attic.
a room upstairs
Yes,
to me.
but you have to get up to it, kind of like some attics type
Yes.
stairs. Yes. They said Madame Blanc says that they ordered some food by the phone with a respectable buyer, and it must have come spoiled.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is still funny because I'm like, okay, if I had a case up in my attic right now that had maggots in it, I can guarantee you they wouldn't be coming through the ceiling.
they're
That's just not
everywhere.
how life works.
Well, then Miss
Right.
Tanner goes upstairs.
I do love all the footprints on
the way
back,
and you can
the
hear
way that
them
they
crunching.
filmed it. Oh, I bet they got in trouble. They would not be able to do that.
Well, this was
today.
70. Yeah,
They would not
77.
be able to do it today.
No, PETA would be on their ass.
No maggots were harmed in the filming of this movie.
But Miss Tanner does say, "Don't let anyone up here," which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, but we really never find out what.
Well, I think we find out why no one's allowed up there
Yes.
because of what happens to someone later in the movie.
Yes.
So
But my thing is, I don't really think that was food gone bad. I think it was maybe
A
something.
body.
a spell.
Yeah, something else. But they don't really. You don't really revisit that.
Yeah. So because of all this, the girls are then forced to sleep all together in a dormitory. While trying to sleep, Sarah hears a unique snoring coming from behind the sheets. She recognizes snoring as the directress. She tells Susie how she knows this.
Okay, so this is. I really like this scene with all like
Everything.
The way the
blankets
lights
up around. It's very well. When the one girl said, "Oh, it makes me feel like I'm at summer camp," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I get that vibe." But I liked the blankets. Like you created like these curtains all the way around them, and then when the lights went off, it was red, and you could kind of see the boys, right? Like
Yeah.
you could see their shadows of them getting into the bed. I really like that shot. When she's talking about the directress snoring, though, I'm like, big fucking deal. If you, it's just somebody snoring. Hell, my roommate does it. Michael does it.
Keith
Okay,
does it.
I don't do it.
He does.
I don't.
Oh, I thought you were saying timeout.
Oh, no. My hand was itching.
I do like this scene a lot, too.
Yeah, it's a really good scene.
I like the way it's filmed. I like the color schematic of it all.
It
If
did
I
feel very.
snored that way, please shoot me.
It
But
did.
You snore like that, like the directress.
you asshole.
It's pretty bad sometimes.
It did feel very slumber party-ish there for
Yeah.
a second. Like when they're talking about, oh my God, is he into you? Talking about that little boy that was like peeking over the
Mark.
curtain at him and stuff.
It was
Yeah.
Mark, yeah.
So we find out the story here. Sarah says when she first came to the academy, she had to stay in the guest rooms at the top of the stairs. And one night, she heard the door next to her room open, and she heard the snoring. And the next day, she was told the directress had come to the school and spent the night. And that's how she knows what the snoring is. No one knows who the directress is.
Nope.
No one has met the directress. What I think of is Madame Blanc's like the president,
Yes.
and the directress is the CEO of the school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and one of the girls asks Madame Blanc if they're going to be staying there tonight, and she says yes. But at this point, we know that apparently none of them live on, air quotes,
that's
but none
coming
of
up.
them live on campus. They all have their own homes in town.
In the city, yeah.
In the city, yes.
So the next morning, Sarah asks Miss Tanner if the directress has spent the night, and she is told no, which I thought was interesting. Even though
Anybody can
she
snore,
clearly, yeah, but this is such a unique.
Snore?
It is a weird.
It's
a
like
very
a
weird
wheezing.
snoring.
It's like a wheezing.
It's like someone that's 250 years old.
I was gonna say it's very like almost like if you could combine like
A death
rattle with a snore, and that's kind of like
Like they're
what you got.
gasping for air.
Yeah. So Daniel's dog, is it Daniel? Who's the
Daniel's the blind guy.
The blind guy.
Yeah.
Daniel's dog bites Albert, the nephew, and in a rage, Miss Tanner fires Daniel. He yells a few times, "I'm blind, not deaf."
Now, let me just say this. When she throws his cane, I was a little infuriated. Like, okay, regardless of what happened, you literally just threw this man's cane. This is his way of getting around. And now he's got to try to find his cane so he can get out of there. And I thought, what a fucking cunt.
I think we've already established, though, she
She's a...
is a bitch.
Okay, but the thing about it is you can be a bitch. Like, I feel like in her role, she's kind of got to be a bitch, right? She's
Yeah.
dealing with all these young women that are probably
Sassy.
sassy and, like, freewheeling and, like, just whatever. But, like, this is somebody that's probably worked for y'all for a while, I'm assuming.
Yeah, like you have a relationship with this person.
Yeah, and
It's-
then you're just going to take his cane and throw it. It's almost like mocking him. I don't like it.
No, it is pretty awful.
Well, I mean, she doesn't. She has like no real redeeming qualities.
No.
So
No.
I love her, though. I don't know why.
What?
I do love Miss Tanner. I like the way she talks. I like the way she carries herself. I like the way she walks.
Okay, well.
I did love her big black boots.
Yeah, exactly. They stomped the shit out of those maggots.
Yeah.
I think, you know how they say dogs have kind of a sense
Yes.
that we don't? I think that's exactly why that dog bit.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, because Albert's a little warlock, bitch.
And I think that Daniel's demise, which you find out about after this,
Yeah.
is him saying, "I am blind, but I'm not deaf," meaning I hear shit that you guys don't think that I am. And I think that's what causes the next scene.
Okay.
So,
So almost like him saying that he almost signed his own death warrant.
Yeah.
yes, I do think that. So before that, later that evening, Sarah talks to Susie about how each night the teachers leave at 9:30 sharp, as Keith was talking about earlier. Susie, seemingly drugged, says they can't be leaving the school as the door is on the left and the footsteps clearly go to the right.
AKA, these girls have a lot of free time on their hands if they're counting footsteps.
It's really boring. After they're done with
Like,
school,
don't you have a word search you can do or something?
no, they're
Well,
really
Susie
bored.
don't. She just sleeps.
She sleeps the whole movie.
Well, in her defense, I think she's probably drugged.
She's under a spell.
But
or
what's
something,
funny
yeah.
to me is that, like, in that scene in particular, is that, yes, at this point we kind of see that Susie's, like, being, well,
She's influenced
Yes.
by something.
yeah. And she is, like, having a hard time. She's all, like, groggy and sleepy and whatever. And I'm like, but even in that state, when she's laying there and she's just like, I don't think they're going home. And I'm just like, and you, this sober girl, who's actually trying to figure it out,
Hasn't figured
has
it out?
no idea.
Yeah.
But yet this girl who's like completely like knocked the fuck out is like
Figured it out.
figuring all this out.
Didn't you think it was weird, though? Because, like, for a minute there, they're talking, and then she's just, like, zonked out of nowhere.
I think that's like whatever
whatever.
Here's my-
Whatever's in
on
that
her.
wine.
I think something's in the wine.
I think it is too.
and I think
Okay.
that's why she got put on that wine diet.
Got it.
And I think
I mean,
that
look, I feel like I could do that right now.
I think it kicked in.
Y'all, Mike has had 2. Well, he's on his second cocktail. He don't know what to do with himself.
No. Did anyone catch the Psycho reference earlier in the film?
What?
When she first gets to her room and she goes to the bathroom sink and
The circle, the drain.
it circles the drain. That has to be a Psycho reference.
What circles the drain?
She turns on the faucet
Oh,
and it closes in, does a close in on the water going down the drain.
okay.
So anyway, we are next at the bar. Daniel is there
Drinking, as he should be.
Yeah, it's a nice old German party. They're having a good old time with some Wiener Schnitzel.
They were at the Bavarian Brew House at Upper Mills.
What is that German restaurant that used to be over there at the end of East Nashville? The Gerst House. They're at Gerst
Yeah.
House.
Where they had
No, they're definitely
Oktoberfest
the-
all the time.
Barvoom. What is it?
Bavarian Beer
Bavarian
House.
Beer House.
Bavarian beer. That's where they are. Because they're going to go to Hot Topic afterwards.
He leaves with his dog, and as he walks across a courtyard, some weird stuff starts happening, and then his dog rips out his throat.
Okay, well, there's bats flying.
Yes.
Right?
Something's flying. Bats.
It's bats.
Witches on brooms. Something.
It's bats. I think it's bats. I think
Because
it's
of what
safe to say
happens
we're
later.
bat. Yes, there's bats, right? Okay, so I think that's probably the coven. Mm-hmm. I think they can turn themselves into bats. And obviously they influenced that dog and had the dog pretty much eat his owner. Because I don't think that dog would have ever have done that.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I also don't think that would have happened had he not yelled
No.
what he yelled
No,
as he was
totally.
leaving.
So this brings me back to that point I was going to make from the beginning. Okay. So the hand that comes through the window at the beginning is furry and it has claws. I think it was one of them coming out of like bat form.
Transformation?
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they're kind of in their human form, but they're still in their bat form.
They're still like in the middle of a shapeshift.
Yeah, that's what I think. And I think that's why the hand looks like that.
I really liked this whole scene, actually, with Daniel and the dog. Although when he's walking in between those buildings, I was like, that looks just like the Parthenon.
It does.
It
He was
does.
in Nashville.
Yeah. But, so like, he looks up there, and that eagle disappears, right? Am I crazy?
Up on the building?
Yeah.
I
Because-
noticed that before, and I'm not 100% sure if that's like intentional or not.
Well, maybe it was a bat.
Right. Well, because then it shows, like, because I was kind of waiting for, like, a shot that was going to be kind of like
it
a
flying away.
flying kind of shot. And you got a little bit of one, but you never saw anything, really. So I was like, well, I don't know.
It very
But
well could have
I
been.
definitely thought for sure that the dog is definitely under the influence. He would not have.
No, that was a sweet baby angel.
And not to mention,
Yeah.
I mean, he's like legitimately like eating him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, at the end of it.
yeah.
Yeah, he takes that one big bite in his neck, and then he's like,
But
He
also,
munches
like,
away.
at that point, like, you know, if the dog is under the influence, those people come running up, and you'd think that if he was, like, under the influence, he wouldn't have just stopped.
And
he
ran
ran-
away.
Yeah, I was gonna say he did run away though.
Maybe he was out of the influence at that point.
Right.
Could be.
So after all this, the next day, Susie decides to meet with Madame Blanc and relay to her what she heard Pat yelling that evening. I can't remember all what she said to her. Iris was one thing.
Secrets.
And secrets.
That's all she gathered from.
And so Madame Blanc said, I'm going to call the police.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, doesn't she say, she's like, I don't know what either one of those things could mean.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, Jan.
Sure, Jan.
So after all this, Susie and Sarah go for a swim, and Sarah is upset that Susie gave Madame Blanc this information, as Sarah was the one Pat was talking to that evening. She reveals that Pat had been taking extensive notes on the teachers and had given it to her before she got expelled and left.
And someone's watching them, right?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think it's insinuated. Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't really show, but I mean, you do miss half of their conversation because you're
Watching from their point of view. I just remember that because like you're watching from their point of view for a good minute.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I just, when they're swimming, I was like, why are y'all kicking so much? This pool is like 3 feet. Y'all can literally just stand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they are for sure just paddling away. And I'm like, okay. And then at the end of that, why is your hair wet? You didn't even go into the water.
Well, Susie did go into the water. You see her go into the water. She does a backstroke. Sarah doesn't, though.
Maybe I was caught up on the bird's eye.
Did
view.
anyone see that coming? That
See what?
Sarah was the one that Pat was yelling to that evening?
No.
No, because she does tell her. She said, the person that you talked to on the intercom,
Yeah, it was her.
Was me.
Right. That's when she, yes.
But how? So hold on. You said that's who Pat was yelling to
She was yelling to Sarah.
To Sarah.
in the beginning.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And then Susie came up and was on the intercom, and someone was talking to her. That was Sarah.
Right. I'm just confused on the Pat yelling to Sarah part.
The door, when Susie comes up to the school, Pat has the door open and is yelling at someone that you can't see. Inside.
Oh, see, in my head, I thought she was like on her way out and she was just like screaming things.
Oh, no. She was talking to Sarah.
She was talking to Sarah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But because it was so loud from the rain, she was yelling at her. So later that evening, Sarah comes to Susie's room in a panic. Someone has stolen the notes. And again, Susie is drugged.
Susie, wake up!
Dun, dun, dun.
Someone has stolen my notes.
Is this when her big chase scene starts?
Well, we can go right into that.
Yes, let's.
Sarah is in distress as she realizes
really
someone is after her.
And she is really scared of a light. Anytime there's a
Yes.
light, she panics. I'm like, girl, calm down.
Well,
I'm a little confused. I mean, I'm not sure I 100% know what's going on with the lights myself,
so
to be honest.
I think it's just she knows people are on her trail.
yes.
Well, no, like, I'm talking about, like, so the scene when Sarah and her are talking about the steps that the teachers are making and all that stuff, and Susie is like, that one red light keeps popping up on her wall, and it's, like, kind of, like, moving around a little bit, and it catches her attention. And you see that several times, and I'm like, what is that? Like, I don't get that.
God. It's God.
Yeah, like,
That I don't know. I don't know either.
I don't either.
She hides the footsteps notes in Susie's dresser and flees through the other door. So there's obviously 2 doors.
Narnia.
Yes.
There's a lot of doors.
Well, the first time she went in it, I thought it looked like an armoire.
It
And I was like, she
does.
literally just went into Narnia. Mm-hmm.
Well, and to be fair, like all the doors have those really intricate like door frames. You know what I mean? Like
With
in the
the
designs
glass
above them
at
and
the top.
window. Yeah, exactly.
I had names for all of them. One was a flip-flop. There was another one that looked like a croissant was at the top of the door. Like,
Yes. So whatever side the lights don't turn on, she runs out. And she runs up into the attic.
Yes.
Into the attic. So she's attacked up in the attic. When she thinks she has finally escaped, she actually jumps down into a room. It's supposed to be barbed wire.
It's literally just wire.
It's just wire.
There's
and,
nothing. Okay.
and gets caught in it.
She does.
And she meets her demise.
Because she panics.
Yes.
Okay, here's my problem with that scene. She builds her little
tower of
suitcase,
boxes.
yeah, or whatever it is. Yeah, it's boxes or suitcases or something, and she climbs up on it, right? I mean, you clearly looked down. I watched you look down, and you jumped right into it, you fucking idiot. Like,
I think for her defense, though, when they show that view when she looks down, it just shows the door. It doesn't show anything below that. And I think it's her line of sight that you're supposed to see, and she doesn't see that. Yeah, is it a little far-fetched? Maybe. Can you
just
clearly
feel
tell?
like I'd be like, oh, what's that stuff?
Can you
down
clearly
there?"
tell it's not barbed wire
It's
when
not
it's supposed to be
barbed wire.
barbed wire? It's 1977. I will forgive it a little bit.
I can forgive the barbed wire before I can forgive her not seeing it.
She, when she's up in that window before she jumps, she clearly looks down. And that's the biggest problem I have with this scene, because I'm like, bitch, you didn't see that?
Did anyone love how the door opened and there's like some blue lights and she keeps walking along and then that arm comes out and she fucking thrashes in and out of that glass case before she makes it into that room.
Well, and also when she's sitting there and like you can see that somebody has a blade and they're trying to unlatch the door, she just kind of sits there for a minute and I'm like, what are you waiting on?
I literally was like,
Well, I think because she didn't think there was a way out.
Yeah.
And then she saw that there was that little window.
Yeah, but also, I mean, it's obviously just one person, like, girl.
and you didn't even like.
Wait, it's not a person. It is
Well-
not a person. At this point, she knows what she's up against.
Okay, well, if they were really all that great and powerful, they could have opened that door without the blade, and that's all I have to say.
You mean
were
without
trying to
that
show
butter
off
knife?
their powers.
Yes.
Because I mean, when he shoved that thing through the door, I was like, "What the hell is that?" It looked like a shoehorn.
But you know, the thing about it was they were like sitting there struggling getting that, and I was like, okay, a normal person would be able to just flick it up.
Right.
This is just, it was trying to build tension.
And then
Well,
she
I got
sat
the
there
tension
for
part.
15 minutes.
Does
What
anyone
killed
like
me,
how that
though-
bottom suitcase like collapsed?
It did collapse.
What killed me though was that I feel like she kind of like set her own self up for failure because I think you were like on a good roll with like running away.
Yeah.
But like you freaked out too soon. The door wasn't even open. Like when you decided to jump down into your demise. So I'm like, who's to say that person would have ever even like gotten in the room? You're up in this window. If they got in there, then jump down.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
So I just feel like if you had just kind of, which I mean, you chilled there for a minute, but
yeah.
like if you had just,
Because she like panics and gets
She takes
She
her
does, she
time.
panics.
wrapped up in that fucking wire.
like,
But then I also think, like, I mean, all the things you're using to jump up to get to the window, you could have put in front of the door, too, to try to prevent them from coming in. Like, I don't know. Sarah's not, like, whatever, my favorite.
Well, then poor Sarah gets her throat sliced
She does.
open. A nice close-up of that. So the next morning, Susie is told Sarah has left unannounced in the middle of the night. And Miss Tanner and Madame Blanc are pissed about it. How
Doesn't even-
dare she?
don't
Her
they
room was ransacked.
and don't they confirm with Mark that like, and he's like, oh yeah, I heard her pack her bags and just like she just left.
Yeah.
But I guess that's because they talk about Miss Tanner has Mark like wrapped around her finger, so like he's basically gonna do whatever.
Because Olga says he never has any money.
Yeah,
So he has to do all the errands and all that stuff.
I bet.
So Susie calls Sarah's friend Frank Mandel. She meets up with Frank and learns of what Sarah was paranoid about and some history about the school, including Helena Marcos. Then another guy comes over and tells her some more stories about witches.
So the school was founded by, what was her name? Helena Marcos?
Helena Marcos.
Obviously.
She was a Greek immigrant, and this was 94.
So, the school was founded by her. She died in a fire. And she left the school to her most prized pupil, who I'm assuming is Madame Blanc. They don't ever say, they just say her most prized pupil took over the school. And I'm assuming that person is Madame Blanc.
Madame Blanc.
Right? I mean, it would make sense. And they called her the Black Queen.
And she was
Because she
believed
was a
to be
witch.
a witch, yes. And then that other guy comes over, and this is the part where I'm talking about. That actor was German, and he spoke all of his lines to her in German, and he would tap her leg when she knew it was her time to speak.
Oh,
I
so
mean,
like a cue.
Yeah.
Did she not just know, like, when he stopped talking, it was her turn?
Well, I mean, if you're stopping in between sentences,
Yeah.
It's probably not going to seem as natural.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
So what does he say? Magic is everywhere. I don't know.
you
He
mean
says
that
something-
that shot that's just like his face?
Yeah, and
and the sky?
He does some quote, and he's like, "Magic is everywhere," because she's like, "I don't believe in witches.
Yeah, why would you?
Witches aren't real.
No.
Witches."
Witches! Oh my god, our first 2 movies are about
Wait,
witches. I know.
I realized this last night when we were watching this. I was like, "Oh,
Anyway. But 2 completely different stories.
yes." So we learned about Frank because earlier Sarah mentions him, and that's why Susie called. This isn't like out of the blue. Susie's like, her friend Frank. Sarah actually mentions him, and then we find out that he is her therapist. After all this, she makes her way back to the school, and she is told everyone has left for the theater.
She seems a little butthurt that she didn't get a ticket.
I would be too.
I mean, I would be too.
She tries calling Frank, but a storm rolls through and knocks the power out momentarily and knocks the phones out, I guess. Back in her room, she dumps all of her food in the toilet.
Honestly, to me, the most disgusting scene in the whole movie
Literally,
was
it
when
was
she
so
dumped the
gross.
food in the toilet. I don't know what it was about it, but I was like, that's
It
blech.
sounded
Disgusting.
the way throw up sounds.
And then she throws that
Wine.
wine in the sink. Y'all, I have thrown a lot of wine in
You can
sinks
clearly
before,
tell it's
okay?
like dyed water.
Y'all, I have never had to clean my sink like that after dumping wine into it.
That is always an issue I've had. They obviously dyed some water to make it very red.
They threw some paint,
Yes.
some watercolor in the sink.
And then she's attacked by a bat.
A bat. See? And that's why I think that there were bats at the Parthenon in Nashville. And that goes back, again, to the arm. I think it's a bat arm. That's just me.
She fucking kills that bat with that
She sure
chair.
does. Overkill.
Yeah.
I almost feel like she could have just thrown the blanket on it because at that point it wasn't doing much. Like, just throw the blanket on it and get out of there. But then she took the stool and squished it like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times.
That thing was paste.
Bad. Bats are cute.
I do love a bat. So obviously she dumps everything because she has some inclination that something's going on at this point, and maybe she thinks that she's being drugged.
Poisoned or yeah.
Something's going on. She then finds the footsteps note from Sarah and starts remembering things. And she starts following the footstep notes.
And you know what? That note said 20 steps. She actually took 27 because I counted.
Oh, did she? Mm-hmm. Wait, 27 before the carpet?
She said 20 steps, and she took 27.
Oh, but I thought there was 7 steps once you turned somewhere or something.
20 steps, and she took 27.
I didn't look that. All I remember is when she got to the carpet, she's like, oh, the footsteps stopped.
Right.
because it's
No,
carpet.
that's not. No. Because I saw on the thing it said 20. Was there an additional 7 steps?
I thought there was. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but
I don't know. But all I counted because I was like, oh, let's see if she walks 20 steps. And she actually walked 27.
What did you call
Maybe I missed something in the notes that said an additional 7
What
steps.
did you call that servant earlier?
Pablo's
No, the
Big
big
Bertha?
girl.
Big Bertha.
Big Bertha.
is in there with huge
and she
Helga.
must have supersonic hearing.
She ran out with that
Seriously.
knife like...
like
But also, if you're trying to be quiet, why wouldn't you take off those clodhoppers you got on? Like, she had some heels on.
But I mean, I guess if these people are like witches,
Yeah, they're
Like,
gonna know regardless.
their
right?
senses are
Yeah, they're
you
gonna
know,
know.
They're heightened. They're
Right.
in tune. Yeah. So in Madame Blanc's office, she remembers more of what Pat was saying that first evening and discovers a hidden door behind an iris.
An iris, which is Tennessee's state flower. If you guys didn't know that,
I didn't know that.
it is. You didn't know
didn't
that?
or did.
I'm not from Tennessee.
Oh my God, it's the state flower, girl. Get it together. How long have you lived here?
What's the state flower of Montana?
I don't know. I don't live in Montana.
What?
Do you know what Montana's is?
No.
Wait.
So that's not even relevant.
Have a really fun guessing game, and I'm like, ooh, we can guess.
I think it's the lilac.
Is it?
I think so.
I think it's the dogwood.
Isn't the mockingbird
we don't
our bird?
Dogwoods do not like that cold weather.
Oh, okay.
They're not
Well,
up there.
fuck me.
Lilacs.
It's probably
do.
the carnation.
It's not a carnation. She walks down a hallway and discovers all the teachers together. She overhears them saying they must kill that bitch American girl.
And all the writings on the walls. I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah, Susie's catching on.
There's Latin all over the walls. Mm-hmm. She's smart at this point. For someone who's been drugged for half the movie.
Yeah. She's for somebody that's been asleep for most
This
of
is
the
her
movie,
Rosemary moment. She stopped drinking the shakes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
It is.
It's very much like Rosemary. Okay.
She unfortunately finds a dead Sarah.
She does.
And
with needles in her eye.
I know, wasn't that weird?
Well, it made me think that maybe they were using
some
her
kind
as
of
some
practice.
kind of voodoo, right?
Yeah.
Like a human voodoo doll.
Is it Daniel realizing Daniel? Who's the guy, the ugly guy?
Pablo.
Realizing Pablo is coming out of the room, she finds a door and sneaks inside the door.
Uh-huh.
Inside, she can hear that unique snoring from the Meg at Night incident.
That was a sound
good,
like.
Yeah. She knocks over a peacock, and it awakens the person snoring.
Well, I'm certainly glad that they at least used that thing, because when she walked in the room and they showed that shot, I was like, what the hell is that?
Oh, that's such a famous scene of her holding that, I'm going to call it a quill, but that peacock feather needle thing.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah. We find out that the person snoring is Helena Marcos. She is alive. The directress. She brings Susie back as the living dead to kill... she brings Sarah back as the living dead to kill Susie. Helena Marcos is invisible, but because of lightning, Susie sees where Helena Marcos is and stabs her through the neck with the peacock quill.
You thought you were gonna kill me.
God, she was a decrepit old bitch.
She was. And that's pretty much how the movie ends, right? Like, I feel like there's not much...
Yeah, she walks out and you see the...
Oh, everything explodes.
Yeah.
I did like that.
And you see the teachers all kind of like...
bloody and frothing around. Well, Helena Marcos' death causes Sarah to disappear. And without the head of the snake, which is something the German guy said, the head of the coven is like the head of a snake. Without that, everything falls apart.
Well, it's like, the alien movies you see. If you get the big one...
The queen.
You get the queen. Yeah. If you get the Grand High Witch, you get them all.
Without the head of the snake, Helena's powers, the other witches start to die, and the school starts to fall apart and set on fire. And the movie ends with Susie walking away from the school as it is going up in flames.
Smiling.
And the movie ends as it begins, with Susie in the rain.
Can I tell you, though, missed opportunity for a taxi to just randomly come about and her get in it, and it's the same taxi driver from the very beginning of the movie. That would have been good. That was a missed opportunity.
All I could think about was, where are all the other students?
They're at the theater, Mike.
That's right. They were at the ballet.
Yeah, they don't know. They're going back
I think that they were all at the theater because they were going to kill Susie.
That was their plan, and they needed to get everybody out of the school.
Yes.
Yep.
Which also would be why she didn't get a ticket.
Uh-huh.
Everything shit just starts blowing up as she's walking through that, trying to get.
I like that part. Like everything, like random things start blowing up, and I liked that scene
because not only
running back.
I mean, the school was encased in her powers too, and now that they're gone,
the school's gonna fall apart too.
Yeah.
So I guess
it's like Poltergeist.
Susie Bunyan's going back to New York.
She is
performing an off-Broadway production of Godspell. I don't know.
Shut up. This is not ever mentioned in the movie, but the other name for Helena Marcos is Mater Superium.
Mater Superium.
There's 3 witches, 3 mothers.
Yes. So we talked about this. There's 2 more movies There's Inferno.
Inferno and Mother of Tears
Mother of Tears.
is the third
Which
one.
was in the
2007.
Did Dario Argento do that movie?
Yes, he did all three of them.
Okay.
So there's three like main powerful witches in this universe. The one in Suspiria, the one in Inferno, which is in New York, and the one in Mother of Tears, which I think is in Rome.
Well, God, if it's in New York, she could have just stayed home in New York and dealt with all this.
Right?
What was the point in going all the way to Germany?
Well, is the point of the one in New York supposed to like
They all
be
are-
like she went back?
No, she's not even in
Oh.
Inferno.
Just a different witch.
It's just a different, different witch.
I would like to watch it one day just to see. I have heard.
I mean, how is the 2018 one?
I never I watched the very beginning of it, like the first maybe 20 minutes, but pretty sure I fell asleep.
I will
Well-
be honest with you. I didn't like it.
A lot of people really do like it.
I would go
though.
back and watch it, but where this is a nice hour and a half. That
It's
one's
literally like
2.5
almost
hours.
3 hours. Yeah, it's like
It's over 2.5 hours long.
Well, and I'm sure that visually it's not as appealing.
With that one, they muted the colors, made them cold. Where this one, they're warm.
And vibrant. Yeah.
Yes. So
Got
they
it.
went kind of the opposite.
Huh. Interesting.
But people should go check it out.
Okay, well, now that we've talked about this movie longer than I planned to, honestly, that felt like a really long time. It did. Felt like a long time. For such a short movie, I felt like we talked about it.
talked longer than the movie was.
Yeah. It's time for Michael's favorite segment, Horrified Theater. Mr. Martin, can you please tell us what we'll be doing today?
All right, so this scene, I wanted to go with a scene that's kind of like got at least some sort of like, you know, wild flair to it a little bit. And while, you know, I mean, there's obviously like a lot of scenes in this movie, whatever, but these two scenes are actually back to back in the movie. So, it's pretty short too. It's not that long. It's going to be the scene with Miss Tanner and Daniel. Miss Tanner's going off on him about the dog biting the kid. Then it just segues right into Sarah and Susie
Okay.
talking about the footsteps and all of that stuff. So,
Got it.
I have this as Keith as Miss Tanner
Okay.
because I just feel like
It'd be a good mystery.
But I don't really remember her voice. What was her
just do Miss Trunchbull. It's
Okay.
basically the same thing. I'll do Daniel, and then Keith will make a reappearance as Susie, and Michael can be Sarah.
Now, look, I did 2 characters on the last episode, and it was a lot.
Yeah, but you were also talking to yourself.
And I didn't...
Oh, please. You love the spotlight.
No, but that was a lot.
You're going to do great.
Okay. Time out real quick.
I know, Buddy is wilding out over here.
Hang on.
What?
I'm gonna see how she sounds real quick.
Oh.
I like the way she talks.
Well, I know, and I can't really remember it. So...
I just felt like she came off very, like, almost like,
Oh.
Told me they had some death.
I mean, where is she?
Come on.
I was trying to find...
oh, it's right there.
Isn't that more? He's been very handsome ever since he got those false teeth.
Fool's teeth.
Okay. I got it.
All right. Are we ready?
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Let's take a little ride to the danger zone first.
What's up, y'all? It's your favorite movie maniacs, Jesse,
And Brittany,
from Danger Zone Video.
voted Nashville's best new video store.
And you bought the ticket? Now it's time to take the ride. This is Horror Fried Theater.
The scene opens with Miss Tanner walking down the red hall towards a practice room where several students are dancing to the music that Daniel's playing on the piano. Angrily, Miss Tanner interrupts.
Stop! 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 Enough! Enough! Do you know what has happened?
What is it?
Your lousy, disgusting dog has bitten Albert. He took a piece out of Albert's arm.
What?
Do you all hear that? That miserable dog tried to mutilate him. Madame Blanc had to take him to a first aid center for stitches.
That's impossible.
Let's go to the first aid center. If you can see the blood, you'll hear that poor child crying.
That's enough now. My dog is peaceful, he's faithful, and never hurt anyone. The boy must have done something to him first.
Oh, the poor little animal. The poor little puppy. If I see him in a mile of the school again, I'll have him put to death.
Stop it! I won't allow such talk.
You won't allow it?
Miss Tanner grabs his walking stick and jacket and throws them across the floor.
Then get out. You and your dog. Get moving.
You bitch!
Out. Out.
Daniel walks blindly towards the direction of his items on the floor. I'm going, but remember that I am blind, not deaf. Get it? Huh? You not deaf. You understand that? Daniel begins walking out of the room and down the hall, feeling his way out with his walking stick. Ah, fresh air. Let me get out of this place.
Good. Get out of here. Good riddance.
Cut to inside Susie's room, talking to Dr. Pablos.
Pablos.
The transition.
Pablos, how much longer do I have to eat like this?
Pablos leaves, and we jump to seeing Sarah in the room with Susie. Susie's already asleep.
Hey, listen. There they go, right on schedule. The teachers. Remember? Can you hear them? They're going away. You hear them?
Yes. They're not leaving the school.
What? What did you say? Wake up!
Said it doesn't seem to me they're going out. The front door is on the left. The footprints are going to the right inside the school.
Jesus, Susie! You're a genius. Fantastic. How come I never noticed that before? Susie, if they don't leave, where do they go?
Sarah starts to shake Susie to try to wake her.
Wake up! Susie, wake up!
I'm sleepy. I don't know why. I'm sorry.
Maybe you can find out where they really go. Of course, yes. We need to count the steps as they go.
Insane. And I also feel like that was very accurate.
So you've survived another Horror Fried Theater. Congratulations. If you would ever like to come peruse some wares, maybe come purchase a movie mentioned on this podcast, come down to Danger Zone Video, 11942 Lebanon Road, Mount Juliet, Tennessee, 37122. Come visit us and leave absolutely horrified.
To you waking him up and him being like, I'm so sleepy. I
Probably. I feel like I'm just Susie all the time.
You are.
I'm Susie Bunyan, and I've got bunions on both feet. So there you go. Okay. It's now time for our final finger-licking thoughts here at Horror Fried. We rate our films using the heat scale of Nashville's famous hot chicken on a scale of 1 to 5. No spice, mild, medium, hot, and Nashville hot. Okay, Mike, since this is your first time seeing Suspiria, I'm dying to know what you thought.
I went into this with not a whole lot of know-how when it comes to it. I didn't know a whole lot about it. I'd seen pictures. I knew its reputation. But that was about it. I feel like it's going to be a little surprising that I kind of thought, because me and Keith tend to lean towards similar things when it comes to like our...
You two do, yes.
Yes.
I agree with that.
And I don't know that we are on this.
I don't know. We'll see.
But I also, considering we're going to switch this up this season and we're having to give it a whole solid number, it makes it a little more... I have to think about it.
It's a little more challenging.
Because I did not dislike this movie.
Uh-huh.
There were parts of it that I kind of felt were like... Not like, where are we going? But I felt like, okay, so there's like a lot of close-ups in this. I felt like some of the close-ups were just like unnecessary. So there's like certain things like that I was just like, well, I mean, and then how we talked about, what were we talking about earlier, where like it never gets like brought up again. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that, it's not necessarily like holes in the plot necessarily, but like I like for things to be like well-rounded and not left so open-ended, I guess. So I was a fan of obviously the music. I didn't even mind like the visuals. God, I really don't know. I don't know, because like I don't feel like I can give it a 4. I feel like it's like, if I could do a half, it would be 3.5, but I can't. So I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay.
That was a journey to get there. Glad y'all stuck with me.
Though.
But I had to give my explanation. It was my first time.
We got there, though.
Yeah.
You know what?
Congratulations.
I think you switched it up in the beginning. I want to know what you think before you ask me.
You want to know what I think?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you would have asked me to give this a rating before I rewatched it, I would have said, 2, bar none, 2. Okay?
Yeah.
However, watching it with a different set of eyes, because I knew that we were going to be talking about it, I realized, obviously I know that it's a classic. Like, I'm not going to take that away from it. Regardless of whether I like the story or not, like, it's obviously a classic, okay? And I can appreciate that. And I can appreciate what Dario Argento is trying to do. And all of his movies, even though I'm not a big giallo person, okay? I love the score. The score's so good. However, okay, so did you not, like, when it played it at some points, it sounded like the beginning of Footloose to me. Like, right? A little bit. Okay, anyway, maybe just me. But I do love the score. The visuals are like, really, I feel like the visuals are in like a world of its own, especially for 1977. Mm-hmm. Plot-wise, I'm not a fan. I don't like the fact that from the get-go, and again, this is maybe just me, but you hear witch. Oh, what's a movie about witches? Great. Thanks so much for ruining that in the first 3 minutes of the movie. You know what I'm saying? I don't love that. There's no real surprises in this movie, which I'm not a fan of. Like, I want to be surprised. I want to be, like, kept guessing. And this story does not do that for me, okay? Having said that, I'm kind of like Mike, where I really kind of want to give it like a 2.5, but I can't do that. And it is definitely better than a 2. Okay? And even though I don't like the story so much, I cannot ignore the fact that it is visually very beautiful. And again, the score is excellent. So I'm gonna go with a 3.
Okay. That is a surprise.
It's no Tenebrae, but... or Stage Fright. Would you consider Stage Fright a giallo movie? It's like ish,
I think it's
right?
inspired by...
Yeah, okay. I love Stage Fright.
Because that is an Italian movie, too.
It is. I mean, it's definitely a slasher. It's an Italian slasher, but...
Yeah. I guess that brings it to me.
To you.
To both your guys' point, I love the score. I think
it really
the
is
Goblin
a great
score is iconic, and to the point that he pretty much has used Goblin or Claudio Simonetti for most of the scores for his movies. Even movies he produced, such as Demons, because Claudio Simonetti from Goblin did the score for Demons, which I love.
Does Dario Argento do Demons?
He produced it.
Okay.
He produced Demons. You know, it's incestual. They're all Italians. So.
Right. Okay.
I absolutely love the visuals. I even love little nuances. I love the way Miss Tanner talks. I love Miss Blanc. I love
Madame Blanc.
Madame Blanc.
The Black Queen.
She's no miss.
I even love like how she was a silent film actress and they brought her back for this movie.
Who was the silent film actress?
The actress that was Madame Blanc. She was
Really?
a silent film actor in Hollywood back in the day, and they brought her back for this to do her final movie.
She definitely has like the golden age of Hollywood like written all over her.
Yes. I love that Daria was a part of this because I love her in Deep Red. I love her in Tenebrae. I really think that she did not get her dues when she was alive. She passed away a couple years ago.
R.I.P.
Is this movie light on plot? Yes. But in that defense, you guys, we love fucking horror. Mm-hmm. Horror is always light on plot for the most case.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but it is. You guys can disagree with me, but it's horror movies.
I mean, I think that's subjective, I guess.
It depends on the movie.
Yeah.
Most horror movies are light on plot.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 5.
Whoa. Do the horn.
Bam, 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 bam.
I love this movie.
First 5 of the season.
Yeah. Not collectively.
No. But I'm curious because, like, I think that's Michael's first 5 of the season. So we'll see where me and Keith drop a first 5.
Yeah.
At some point.
Did you expect me to give it a 3?
No, I was thinking you... When we were watching it, I kind of got the feeling that you were enjoying it more than you had led on up to that point. Yes. Otherwise, I thought it was going to be more in line with From Beyond because he has said to me on many occasions how
From Beyond was terrible.
How he does not like this movie at all. So going into this, I knew you did not like it.
And I will still say I'm still I'm not like a huge fan, but I've got to be fair in the fact that like everything else is really well done about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though I don't like the story, and I'm very much just, you know, like Mike on this, I'm very much a story person. Like, I need a good story, something that grabbed me. I don't like a lot of loose ends. In this movie, I don't love the story, but everything else about it, like, I can't ignore the fact that it's good.
I was just pleasantly surprised. Only because I've heard so many negative things about it from Sir Clanton over here.
Does Maggie likes this movie, though, doesn't she?
I'm not sure.
I know she loves the score, because I remember she told you.
Ashley hated it.
Did she hate it?
Yeah, she hated it.
Okay, but see, again, let's say she watched it again with a different set of eyes. Maybe she'd like it a little more, because I'm telling you, the first time I watched it, I was like, and people go goo-goo over this? I couldn't... No. But, again, this is probably my third or fourth viewing, I'd say. So...
I think it's all subjective, you know?
Yeah.
It's all... Also, our viewpoints change as yours did. I used to love I Know What You Did Last Summer, and now when I watch it...
Yeah, I
think
know.
I used to love this movie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the plot isn't in any much better than this movie and that movie. Someone gets killed and comes back for revenge.
I mean, but that's the plot.
Well, this has a plot too. It's a witches.
Yeah, but they don't get killed and come back from revenge.
Well, they don't have to say they don't have to have the same plot, but linear.
Okay.
We're not talking some Casablanca movie. Where the plot is way up here.
Casablanca.
You've never even watched Casablanca.
I have not.
Oh,
I have seen Citizen Kane though, and they say that's like the best movie ever.
I didn't say Citizen Kane.
And I will tell you it's boring as fuck, and I would never watch it again.
Didn't watch. It also has to do with the generation. We grew up in the 90s, so we revere 90s movies.
I mean, we do.
It's
nostalgia. It's all nostalgia.
It's nostalgia.
It's nostalgia driven. But like, I mean, I've never seen Gone with the Wind either.
I have.
But like, I just know that it's
You've
so...
never seen Gone with the Wind?
I haven't
I'm
seen it
surprised
either.
by that.
No.
I'm really surprised by Mike because I just feel like it's such a like it's a movie you watch.
I guess
You
the
live in
point
the
that
South.
I'm
I don't
making,
know.
though, is there are a lot of horror movies that all three of us enjoy that don't have much of a plot.
Uh-huh.
I
So
mean, I
we
do
can't
love a
fault
fun
this
horror
movie for
that's
having
just
much
like-
of a
Me
plot.
too.
That's just kind of brainless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think with this one though, it's very much trying to be serious, but the story doesn't do it for me. You know what I mean?
Do you think any of it's lost in translation?
I'm sure. I mean,
I mean, that's a point, though.
Yeah,
To
no, I'm-
Italians, it might make
total sense.
total
No, I get
sense.
it. No. Yeah, no, I'm sure it is.
Well, right. And to that same kind of, conversation, it's kind of like, for us watching it, some of the things that, like, we see as, like, can be distracting from the plot can take away from the plot for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, whereas if, these Italian people that love these kind of horror movies, like, that's the bee's knees for them. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, look, art is subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Boulay.
Yeah.
Well, you all should be happy to know the remake is an American remake. So.
Well, but see, I don't want to watch that.
I don't really, like I said, I watched like the first 20 minutes and was like, this is, you know what I mean?
That's why I was asking if y'all had seen it, because I'm curious.
I've seen the whole thing.
I would like to go watch it now because I have a little bit more appreciation for this movie after watching it this time. I would like to go watch it just to see.
The one thing it has going for it is Tilda Swinton's in it, and
First,
she's
she's
amazing.
incredible in it, yeah.
She plays 3 characters.
Three?
Three.
Who plays Madame Blanc?
She does.
So she plays Madame Blanc?
Yes.
What about Miss Tanner?
I don't remember who Miss Tanner plays, or who's played by Miss Tanner.
I mean, I feel like the same thing could be said for last season when I watched Hellraiser again after however many years. I enjoyed it on the podcast more than I did just watching it on my own free time.
Yeah.
I
agree.
To the point that I wanted to watch like the sequels.
The rest of them, yeah.
Well, it's so interesting to me how you two are kind of in line with movies, and I'm more of an outlier.
Yeah, but you do
two.
like these like kind of like
I like them a little weirder.
You
yes.
like those like kind of artsy horror movies and stuff like that, and so I kind of went into this obviously knowing where you were on the spectrum for Suspiria. I did look the definition of Suspiria up last night while I was watching it, though.
Oh, I didn't look it up. What does it mean?
Oh, hold on. No, because it actually made sense with the movie. Hold on. What is the meaning of the word Suspiria? It comes from Latin and comes from suspirare, which means breathing.
What is it?
Breathing. And Suspiria in the conjugation means something like taking a deep breath, which made sense to me with the snoring and the breathing and the whatever. And I was like, oh, so I wonder if like this Suspiria is supposed to be in relation to like the directress.
Yeah.
It definitely could be. I never knew that. I just knew the
her
word
life,
Suspiria
her
as the
breath
movie.
or whatever.
Well, because that bitch is old.
Yeah, really old.
As we saw that
Hell, she was
close
born
up.
in 1894. Well, no, she took over the school in 1894, so there's no telling when she was born.
She's 125 or
Good Lord.
something. You know, when you're a witch, you can live a long time.
Yeah.
Anything else?
She did not age gracefully.
No.
Do you know the trivia I read for that?
What?
Is it Jessica Harper? Is that her name? The actress?
Yes.
She claims that Dario Argento pulled some 90-year-old old prostitute off the street to play that role. Because she's uncredited.
Really?
Yes.
I would believe that.
Yeah.
Well, where was this filmed?
Italy, Rome.
Okay, well, I feel like at that point in time, too, prostitution was not as frowned down upon there as it was here.
Well, sexuality has never been.
Well, period, yeah.
It's different over in Europe than it is
so,
here. Yeah, some 90-year-old former prostitute played Madame Blanc. Or not Madame Blanc. Helena Marcos. Yes.
I would believe that.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if she does any cons.
Jessica?
Yeah.
I would meet her.
Well, I feel like I would too. Obviously, this is
She
not my
was in the
favorite movie.
remake.
She was
had
in
a
the remake.
little
Cameo?
cameo in the remake.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
she's like the Ellen Burstyn in The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Well, except for Ellen Burstyn had like a part.
Yeah. This is just.
Oh my God! Side note. We watched Queen Bees last night. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, the one with the old women and the nurses.
Yeah, we'd never
We
heard of
watched it.
I haven't watched it yet, but
It was a pretty cute movie. I wanted them to be meaner though. The Queen Bees weren't really that mean. Only Jane Curtin's character was like a royal bitch. Why are we talking about this? Anyway.
Because he brought up Ellen Burstyn.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. Thanks so much for joining us, y'all. If you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and rate the Horror Fried Podcast and catch up on all our previous episodes on your favorite streaming service. Links are available on our Instagram page. Once again, we'd like to thank our friends, Brittany and Jesse of Danger Zone Video, for hosting Horror Fried Theater this season. Y'all can find them on Instagram at Danger Zone Video. Y'all join us next time as we discuss 1981's... Woo! Y'all get ready for this because it's one of Michael's favorites.
Woohoo.
The Howling.
Queen D. Wallace.
Queen D. Wallace. Can't wait. We just watched it not too long ago at Fright Night Friday.
Friday,
Yes.
That was part of our Fright Night Friday this past October. So it's kind of still fresh on my mind. I know I'll have to watch it again to take some notes. But anywho, love
We're
y'all.
out of the
mean it.
witches.
Huh?
We're out of the witches.
Yeah,
and the
no.
werewolf.
Well, there's are
For
there any
now.
more witches?
yeah, for
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, there's some more witches a little later, but we're moving on to werewolves. So we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Susie. Sarah. I once read that names which begin with the letter S are the names of snakes.
I'm ready to go to bed.